The idea for this demo session is to show how easily you can deploy an ERP system, and also we'll be going into setting up configurations for the ERP system during our demo. In order to do that, let me start now. So the end user would be provided with an installer, and as soon as he double clicks that, this would be what he sees. And since it's a new installation, we have selected that, and he can choose a namespace, or we recommend using RC to start their project. And it's just a case of setting up their server instance, and we recommend using Windows authentication. And the app user and app password are just to create a login for you in your SQL Server Management Studio. And all you have to do is click on install. And this process would run about 15 minutes or so. In order to save time, I've already run a brand new system that we could start our demo on. And we'll come back to it. We'll just keep this namespace, and I'll show you exactly how that system would look like. So this is TR. Okay, so let's go to our brand new system. This is called BX. So as soon as the installation is over, all you have to do is go to your localhost and call it by your namespace. And this is the brand new login. So during the initial login, your username and password is John Doe without a space for the password. And as soon as you log in, the system will ask you to change the password. So let's go ahead and change that to 3. If I'm a little fast, or if you'd like me to repeat something, kindly do let me know. Okay, thank you. All right, so we have changed the password. Let's go into the system. So every system comes with a sample company, and also this sample company has its own set of customers, vendors, your GL chart accounts, your financial statements. So if there is a case for us to test any transactions, we can always do that on the sample company. For our demo today, I will be setting up a new firm, a new company, and customers and vendors, and also, excuse me, and also we will be setting up the general ledger module, and we'll be running some sample transactions across different modules like AP, AR, and also banking transactions. And then we will do a month end. So before we start, I just want to say a little bit about the system so we could get familiarize ourselves with. So in order to switch between modules or systems, you have this small box here, small screen, where you can switch between your systems quite easily. Like if you click on this, it will be accounts payable and all that. So for our first section of our demo, let's go to common area. The common area, as it suggests, is to have all your common data here, which will be used across the various systems. So in order to set up a company first, we have to set up a firm. So I've gone into miscellaneous firm information. And the easy way of doing records in Rintagi is to select an existing one and just click on copy, and then we can change it. So I'm going to call this test company 1 and click on save. So that's as easy it is. So I'm just keeping this so we don't have to change it. Once we have our firm ready, we can go ahead and create a company. So let's go to company info. And on this screen, we have to select the firm that we created, test company 1, and let's call it TC-1. It's an active company. You have our business number. You can have functional currency and presentation currency different. Functional currency, across the system, if you hover over fields, it will give you tips about that particular field. So this is the operating currency for this country of the company. And this is more like the presentation that you want to show. So you can show it in 2 currencies if you'd like. And this is the physical that you want to start. So that'll be in this format. And let's say the fiscal start is 1. Okay, now we have created the company. Let's create a project. A project is nothing but office location. A company would have multiple locations. So let's select an existing one, click on copy, change the company to our newly created one, and let's call it TC office number 1, just to give it a project. All right, so now that we have done that, I wanted to show how easy it is to create new users. So let's go to the administration module for that. So you have to go to the administration module here, and under operations, you have user manager. So for our John Doe, let us associate this user with the companies that we have just created. So this is TC1, office number 1 as the project. And let's say his default system is common area. So you can, so this way you don't have to constantly select your company and project. Once it's set, as soon as you log back in, the system will set it for you. So let's create 2 new users by the usual way. I have an existing record. I will click on copy, and I will call this accounting, and I will change his user group to accountant and click on save. So a new user has been created. And also let's just change password since I want to show you what the accountant would see. So just to quickly, so you can always change password here, and so we have set up a new user and also set up his password. Now we have to log out and log back in for the new changes for the company and the project for this particular user. All right, so as you can see, the system automatically has chosen the company and the project and the default system as well. So every time he does this, it'll happen. Let's go ahead and quickly create customers for this particular company. So let's go to customer. And easy way, let's choose an existing one, customer 1. Let's see, TC1 customer. There are a few mandatory fields depending on the customer. So let's just save, and let's just have one more for a quick one. So just number 2 and click on save. So that's we have done with the customers. Let's quickly do our vendors as well. We need this information so that we can create transactions in the different systems. So that's the reason. So let's do this. All right. This is a vendor, and right. So we are done with our common area setup for now. Let's go ahead and set up a journal ledger, general ledger. So in the general ledger, there is, it's quite a big system. So we have a few configurations that we have to do. The most important one is the natural accounts and chart of accounts. So I want to show you that there's nothing here right now. And we have to create these accounts, and this differ for each company. They have their own accounts. So we have an easy way of importing accounts. You don't have to do it manually. You can do that manually, but if it's a batch of records that you want to import quickly, we have this import screens across all our systems, and so the import screen functionality, you have this blue button here. As soon as you click on this, each import screen would show you what kind of information that the system is looking for, and also provide you with a template if you need one. So you can quickly download that and take a look at this Excel sheet. So this is how the template would look like. So all the red ones are mandatory ones, and if the system needs a particular information, it'll also give you information like type A for asset, L for liability, E for equity, and all that. In order to save time, I have input all this information already for our sample company that we have created. It's quite straightforward. You just have to put in the GL chart accounts and the natural accounts and the type of account they are and if they are active. Now I'm going to import it for you to see how the system would. So all you have to do is choose the particular Excel sheet and click on import. So the system has imported 47 rows. Now let's go back to natural accounts to see how it looks. So now you can see that the system has created natural accounts automatically based on the import that you have done and also your chart of accounts. So if you type your accounts receivable, it shows that the accounts receivable is under the natural account and it's called accounts receivable and the currency and company. So we've saved quite a bit of time by importing all that information quickly. Now let's set up company accounts. The company accounts is an important screen because when you do general journal entries, the system must know where it has to post. So in order to do that, let's do this quickly. I'll just explain. I'm just setting up accounts for each of these types. Before that, we have to set up a banking account. So, good thing. All right. So let's go back to common area. Click on bank accounts. Project Singapore dollar bank account number 1. The reason we didn't do this before is because each bank account needs its own GL account. So that's why we went ahead and built that. So let's see. Okay, this is bank account 1. This is bank charges. And this is, let's say, interest revenue. We click on save. Let's create another one as well, bank account 2, and the appropriate asset account. And yeah, so now we are good. Let's go back to our general ledger module and our company static accounts. Okay, right. So so some of the accounts might not be relevant to you. In that case, we could just create a dummy account so that we don't have to use. Thank you. So we have set up a company static account. So a major section is done. Once this is done, we would like to set up our report definition for our financial statements. An easy way of doing that is because since we have a sample company and we can make use of that to create copies and it'll greatly save our time. So in order to do that, if you have your company selected, the system will filter out your records by company and you cannot see them. So I'm just going to empty this out in order for me to see the sample company information. So that's the reason I'm doing this. Okay. All right. So under report definition, let's go to statement columns map. And our sample company is called Acme. So we have a columns map for the balance sheet. Let's copy that quickly. Change it to TC1 and change this company to TC1. Let's query on. All right, so now that we've done that, let's go to the statement row maps. The statement row maps is how your balance sheet is set up. So this is a sample balance sheet. New items can be added to it, and it's very simple to do that. So let's copy this for our company. All right. And I'm copying the balance sheet. Right. And this is the income statement. So right. So now that we have all our statements, let's go ahead and choose our company. For this demo, in order for want of time, I will just map the balance sheet statement so we could run our balance sheet. So what the system is showing is, since we have our statement set up, we have to map the line items with the natural accounts. So you have all the line items from the your financial statement, your balance sheet. So it's as straightforward as mapping them like this. Okay, so now we have our balance sheet set up. We are done with our configuration. So just to go over the stuff that we've completed, we have set up our natural accounts, our chart of accounts, our company static accounts, and we have defined our financial statements and have mapped our balance sheet.
Can you show us the accounts map exception report?
Yeah. So the account map exception is a report which helps you to run against a particular financial statement. Let's see for this one. And so it just shows this account is not allocated. So it will give you, so that you can make sure that you're not missing out on any accounts that is necessary and you have not mapped them.
If you go back to the row map.
Yeah.
Can you change the inventory to fixed asset?
Yeah, so let's change this here. And let's now map it. So now we have it. So since we changed the line item, it comes up here, and we can go check our exception report. So nothing should be here now. So there's nothing here. So we have mapped all the accounts. So that way we are pretty sure nothing is missing out. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and I'll show you where we have to, let's go through each module and create our transactions before we do our month end. So the first module is accounts payable. All right, so on accounts payable, you can create your bills, pay bills, and do payments. So let's create a sample bill for this new company. So let's choose this vendor, and you want to choose your invoice number. Bill number, test bill number 1. And let's assume this is for advertising. And we have an advertising expense account. And you can choose the project. So if there are multiple projects, And as soon as you enter the rate, the system will calculate the amount, and if there's a tax code, it will also calculate the VAT and GST for you. You will click on save. So if you're happy with the bill, we could go ahead and click on finalize. So now this bill is ready to be paid for vendor 2. So let's go ahead and pay bills. So you click on full pay. For this particular, there is only one, but you can it will show you all the unpaid bills here, and whatever you want to pay, you can select them. And let's click on save. So now the payment has been created. Let's go to the payment screen, and this is our created bill. So we want to choose the bank account that we want to withdraw money from and the payment method. The date to pay and everything, and if everything's okay, let's finalize this. So yeah, so now we have created a bill, made payments, and I will show the general ledger entries for the same. Now let's move on to the accounts receivable module, and for this case I want to show you another login, so you can have multiple login. So in this case, let's use account. Okay, that's the user that we created. I just wanted to show how this user would. So this is John Doe. This is us, and I have one more Internet Explorer open with a new session, which is the accountant. All right. So let's, as John Doe, let's start an invoice for a customer. So we are invoicing a customer. And it's a regular invoice. Let's choose a customer 1. You want to ship to this company. Let's choose out. So so you see this option here, invoice number. So if you're starting from your old invoice number and you want to start from that on this new system, you'd be able to do that here, or the system will just start from 1 and do like that. So let's leave it like that for now. So the system automatically sets it to 1, but you can always change it to be the next invoice from your last system. So you can do that. But let's quickly go over to the accountant side of thing and see what happens. So we are in the same module. We are going to the invoice customer, but we do not see any invoices, even though we have created it. The reason being that the accountant is being set a particular row authorization, like he can only see whatever invoices that he has created. So let's go and I'll show you how quickly we can change that. So since John Doe is a system administrator, he goes to administration, and he goes to user group, and let's just check for accounting. So the default row authority is view self, add, edit, delete. So he can only see himself. This is a case where multiple accountants are working and they want to work on only their invoices. So what if we change it to view all, edit, and delete, and we'll click on save. So in this case, let's just do a sign out and sign back in for accountant. And let's go to the general ledger module. Oh, sorry, accounts receivable. So in this case, he is able to see the invoice because we have allowed it to happen. But if you notice, the invoice number is still not allowed because we need someone with higher authority to change that. So you can see the level of authorization even on the field levels. So that's the case. So let's go ahead and create an invoice here. So let's assume that we want to change this to 999, something like that, and click on save. So the system will use this as the invoice going forward, and click on finalize. And if you click on new, let's click on new from this guy's perspective. So this is the accountant. So this is the invoice number for him. So let's so as you can see, the invoice is using the one provided for the previous invoice and is incrementing it. So that way you can continue from your old system onto this system. So that's what I wanted to show with the accountant login. So let's go now. We have our invoices ready. Let's do some customer payments, accept some payments for our invoices. So you have to choose which account we want to do that, and let's choose this guy. So he has only one. So let's say payment number 1. Let's assume this is 14,791, and they are making a payment for 14,000. So all you have to do is click on this to signify that we are applying that towards this one. So this is 14,000, and click on save. That's it. So you have your current due automatically assigned to this invoice. And so let us click on finalize. All right, so now we have made a payment. Let's record deposit. So it was cash, and it was for bank account 1. So we can choose, so since it's an undeposited account, now we are moving it to the actual account. So that's why we are doing a deposit. You can click on save here and click on finalize. So we have created an invoice, accepted payments. We have seen how we can change invoice numbers, and also recorded deposits in the AR module. Now let's jump over to the common area module. The common area module, we have the banking transactions that we can do. Let's quickly see how a transfer would work. All right, okay. So let's assume we are transferring $300. If you select bank account 1, it will show you what's the balance since we made a deposit, right? So there's a deposit, so it will be the ending balance. So if you select just one bank account, you can create a transaction like a bank charge for this bank account. But since we are doing a transfer, let's choose this one as well. So you want to move it to bank account 2. So it's saying the current balance, ending balance, and you will click on save. Oh, just wants a memo. So, all right. So now that we have done that, so we can create multiple banking transactions here. The system also provides bank statements and automatic reconciliation. This would be for a later time. The bank statement would have to be fitted correctly for the import, and it would reconcile with all our entries in the system. So now that we have done that, let's go to our fixed asset module. In the fixed asset module, the first one is to set up an asset type in order to do our depreciation. So I will do it quickly. So I'm just setting up a sample asset type, and it's a fixed asset, accumulated depreciation for our new company, valid from 1. So let's just take this. Okay, useful life 10 years. The depreciation method currently being done is only straight line, so that would be yes. So we have set up our asset type now. Let's go ahead and add our asset. So you can also do an import. which follows the same principle where it will give you a template and you could have all your assets in at the same time. So in our case, since we are just creating one, I will just do it manually. Test asset 1 and asset type. Information about the asset. So let's say this is what the lending is 3,000 residual value. And let's just say it's in Singapore. All right, now that we have added our asset, we can click on finalize and our asset is ready. So for the month of January, we can also run our depreciation for this one single asset. So that's into the depreciation screen. So for the month end of 31st, and as soon as you click on save, the system will go and look for all the assets that are eligible for depreciation and calculate the depreciation amount, and you can finalize and send it. So, so we have created transactions for AP, AR, banking, fixed assets, and now let's go to a general ledger module to do our month end. So let's go to general ledger module. All right. So in order to do a month end process under operation, we have something called month end and checklist. So since it's a new company, the system will create a new checklist for you, and we just have to refresh the screen. And so we have our checklist. So as soon as you click on fixed assets, the system will go check for all transactions within this time frame, within this month, and will post journal entries. So let's go ahead and post that. Okay, so it said posting completed successfully. And let's go and look at our journal entry. As soon as you post, you can go and take a look at the journal entry. I just want to show it for the first one. So fixed assets, and it's showing which our chart of accounts are being affected, accumulated depreciation, you know. And let's go back and do the same for all the other. So miscellaneous banking, we have some transactions there. Accounts payable, we have some transactions there. And accounts receivable, we have some transactions there. FX gain or loss is something that if you are using another currency for which you want to track your gain or loss, you would have to set up your foreign exchange information here for the system to calculate your gain or loss. Since we are not using FX for our case, I'll just post it. There won't be any gain or loss. All right, so now that we have done that, you can go and take a look at the journal entry screen to see that there are a whole bunch of journal entries that are being created. So you can take a look at it if you'd like to get some more information about each journal entries. If you're happy with everything, you could go to journal posting, and there is an option of hold. So whatever ones you don't want, you click on them so the system won't post it. But since we are okay with this, let's go ahead and post it. So journals have been posted successfully. Let's go ahead and run our trial balance report to make sure that there's no mistake. So for our company, let's use our original currency. It's the same, but and the fiscal is January, and we will click on view. So the trial balance is 0. It's showing all the accounts that are being affected here, and just for a quick glance, let's also run our report. You remember that we only set up our balance sheet, so I'm going to run our balance sheet. So this option, if there are multiple offices, you know, you could run your balance sheet for a particular office, or that way you can take a look at that. So, so as you can see, the assets and liabilities have the same. There is some rounding error, which can be corrected in your statement rows map. If you go to balance sheet, see the rounding. So you can just say which rows you want rounded, and it would round automatically. So that's the financial statement that we have seen now, the balance sheet. So everything looks good. Since we have not mapped other statements, I'm not going to show that. Now that we have done our month and we are happy with all the numbers, we can roll over the fiscal to the next month for this particular company. So all you have to do is change it to the next month and click on save. And the system will do a check to make sure that you have posted for all systems across your company. And if everything's okay, it will allow you to advance to the next fiscal. And if you go to your checklist now, you can see that it's become February. So the system is ready for you to do your February month end. So that is how you would do your month end and all your transactions. Apart from this, there are other modules, the HR management, inventory, payroll, expense reporting. We will cover this as there is a need, if there is a need going forward, in a separate demo.